Hello again. We've talked about established grade, we've talked about established line, and I have an illustration here. If you can see it on the ground, this would be the corner stake of my structure. And if you can see, there's an orange line going this way and this way. I use paint to lay out for my excavator so he'll know where to dig. He'll have a grade on a stake over here somewhere, and he'll know how to dig deep to dig. Now, when we get to this point, sometimes we need to preserve these points, especially in the case of a big building where there are lots of anchor bolts. And to do that, we build batter boards. And today we're going to build a batter board. Now, the first thing about batter boards, you want them all to be level so that when you measure from point to point, it's on a level line. So you'll shoot all of your ledgers to the top of these batter boards in level with one another. You'll also put them in line. So if I'm 10 feet off my line to this batter board, the one on the other side, and however many I've got in the middle will be 10 foot from the building line. And I'll be very careful to get those straight. And the same things with the batter boards going in this direction. They'll all be at the same level and they'll all be in line. That way you can measure from batter board to batter board and it will be correct. Now, I'm ready to build the batter board. Now, I have here some old scrap 2x4s to illustrate this with. I have two legs, I have a ledger, I have a back stake, and I have braces to brace this up. Now, normally, I use a 8-pound sledgehammer to drive these stakes. You notice I've got a point on those, okay, and I'll have my distance. I'll have this shot where this goes. Today I just have a 3-pound sledge. It's good enough for illustration. And I would drive these stakes down until they're good and solid. Okay, that's pretty good and solid. Now I would drive the other side. And remember, these are lined to be the same distance. Now, at this point, I would take my level and I would shoot an elevation on my stake. Now, this elevation would be some significant point, maybe tall enough to be above my forms. Maybe it would be floor level. You've got to determine yourself what kind of level you want these. And at this point, I would take some 16-penny nails. Okay, I'm going to just start one here to set my ledger on so that I can hold it up. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now, remember, this is the top of my ledger is some significant point, either my floor level, high enough to get over my forms to set my anchor bolts, whatever. Now, generally, when you go to nail something together, you want to back it up because it's hard to hold just like that. Okay, let me get it started here. Okay. Now, if you notice, I'm nailing this ledger on the back side of my stakes. The reason I'm doing that is if I pull this string and it's nailed on the front, it could pull the ledger off. Now, I'd make sure that it's level. Okay. Pull it up where it's level. Okay. Now, generally I would shoot both of them in to be level, but in this case, I just use my level. Now again, I'll nail this one on. Oh, let me try that again. It's moving on me too much. Okay. Now, I would nail each one of these places. I'd put 2 nails in it. But since this is illustration, I'm just going to put 1. Now, to keep this thing where it won't move back and forth this way, we'll put a diagonal brace on it. And normally, I would cut these braces off and make them pretty so that when the boss come around, he'd know I had some pride in my work. Okay. Again, I would nail 2 nails in each end. Okay, now it's sturdy this way. You notice it still racks pretty bad this way. So I have 2 more braces here. I would nail these like this. Remember, 2 nails per connection. Okay. Now, to keep it steady this way, I drive a short stake back here. That's pretty good. Okay. Okay. Now it's braced. Well, let me hit this again just a little bit. Okay. There, it's solid. We can pull a string on this, it will be permanent. Let me start me a couple nails here. Now, I have my line fastened at the other end, so let me bring my line across. Okay, now I'm going to eyeball this thing and get it pretty close to over my stake. And at this point, I'll drive a nail in the back here to fasten it off. Now the way we fasten our string is take about 4 or 5 wraps, put it around your nail, and now we can just pull it. And the tighter we pull it, it'll stay. Okay. That's pretty tight. Now in order, I'm fastened on my other end, it's right. So now I'll move to my stake again. I'll hang my plumb bob from my line. Let's see, let me get a little more. There we go. Let me get just a little more string out here. Okay. Now I'll just roll my string. Okay. That is dead on right there. Now I like to put a pencil mark on each side of my string. Now I have worked where they've had us to saw a kerf, but if I've got this at the right level, I prefer to keep it there. Also, if something happens that my batter board moves. Okay. Now the line is preserved. I can dig, and once my hole is dug, I'll have a point here where I can level down and get my lines in the bottom of the hole. I'm ready for my excavator. And here is a picture of what it looks like when we get our excavation finished. I'll put a better picture on than this. And there's the batter board. Thank you.